great basketball.
Defender to the basket, Jason Tatum.
We covering pre and post game back on this channel.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Celtics Postgame Live. I am your host, Robby Haytayan. Tonight, I am joined with my two co-hosts, Justin Lowe and Ian Angelo. Although it says my name is Justin Lowe as well. We got to fix that real quick. Guys, the Celtics pick up a 111-99 win on the road against the Pistons. Slow start for Tatum tonight. Despite the slow start, the MVP, soon to be hopefully MVP, finished the night with 34 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Not too far behind him, Derek White, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists off the bench. We had Malcolm Brogdon doing his thing, 16 points. And how about Robert Williams tonight? 15 points, 15 rebounds. Rob looking like he is getting back into pre-injury form. Justin, you go first. You know the deal. Initial thoughts, takeaways, reactions for tonight's Celtics win.
Yeah, there was no excuse tonight to go out there and lose this game. You were down, with 5 players, but you needed this win coming off of a lousy home game against Phoenix. Go out there and get the win. You're better than this team. They're Pistons. They're also banged up. They were missing some guys, including Cade Cunningham. This was the Celtics game to lose tonight, but they came out and they dominated this game. They had a 23-point lead. Pistons made a late run, but Tatum, Derek White, throwing Robert Williams as well. They were able to withhold that and, hold the Pistons to under 100 and get the win while doing so.
Definitely. And, I mean, this game maybe was closer than it probably should have been. Like, Jason Tatum probably shouldn't have had to play in that fourth quarter, but without him going off in the second quarter, I mean, the Celtics probably wouldn't have pulled away as much as they did because he had an absolutely insane third quarter, I meant. But yeah, 18 points in the third quarter after playing pretty awful in the first half was kind of pretty insane. And he just ended up with just a light 34, 11, and 6. Just nothing really new on that front. Robert Williams was huge too, though. 15 rebounds, 15 points. He went on his own takeover in the fourth quarter. And
I think that was like the story of the night was kind of Rob versus Jalen Duran. Duran, I didn't watch much of him this season. I saw him live when the Celtics played the Pistons at the Garden earlier in the year. But I was like, his first half, I think he had 12 rebounds in the first halk. Jalen Duran.
Hey, Rob. He's only 19.
Yeah. He's young. I mean, I was, like I said, when I saw him play, I was watching him, and at the time I was older than him, and it was the first time it's ever happened. I was like, whoa, like that guy, they got a bright future with Duran. But I mean, end of the day, Robert Williams got the last laugh. But how about Hauser, guys? Hauser got the start tonight, which I liked. Usually we've seen Grant, we've seen Pritchard step into the starting spot. Hauser stepped in, and I think he played his role much better with the starting group, I think, than he does with the bench. I think maybe it's because he's got a little bit better playmaking around him. What do you think? Why do you think, Ian, maybe that Hauser performed better tonight with the starters than opposed to the bench, maybe?
I think Hauser just got a lot more opportunities tonight because obviously we didn't have Jaylen Brown. We didn't have Marcus Smart. So he was going to have to take shots. And, we know as of recently he's been not very good, to say the least, when it's been coming to his shooting. Inconsistent, yeah, we'll say that. But tonight in the first half, he was lighting it up. I mean, he was reclaiming his spot as the best player to ever wear number 30. But I mean, he played really well tonight on defense, even though he was getting targeted a lot. He held his own a little bit on defense as well, which is also kind of something that is a little, it's something that's not always there because you never know what you're going to get with his defense because people will always be targeting him. But I liked what I saw out of Hauser tonight. Does this mean the Celtics don't make a move at the deadline because Hauser played well tonight? No, but it's good to see that maybe Sam Hauser's shot is back and maybe we can use him in the rotation again.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the deadline because as great as the win was, we kind of got more to talk about with the C's. Obviously, Kyrie Irving no longer in the Eastern Conference. The Brooklyn Nets kind of falling apart, dismantling in front of our eyes.
Oh no!
Guy, as
So
if we
sad.
see that coming. Obviously, we hear some names floating around. Jakob Podol, Cam Reddish. We've heard Kelly Olynyk. Who's a guy that you think that the C's can realistically, which is the key here, realistically go out and get? Maybe buyout market, but who you can expect in this next week for the Celtics for their name to be popping up around?
Somebody that's not a big market player, somebody that's not going to, guarantee us a championship, somebody who can, come in and just do his job and play that position well. I think when you get a guy like Kelly Olynyk, you get an experienced vet. He knows his role really well. He's playing his role really well in Utah. Um, he knows the Celtics system. I think Jakob Poeltl as well. Um, Really good backup center. We're looking for like guys who can, produce and give you minutes down the stretch of the regular season, more so give you high valuable minutes in the playoffs. But at the same time, you want to keep in that back pocket that, these guys are going to be on the bench come playoff time, and you may have to use these guys come playoff time. So you want to make sure that you are able to use these guys, and these guys are going to be ready to step up. The name Nerlens Noel keeps popping up. I really don't think Nerlens Noel is a name that the Celtics should be looking at. I think his contract is ridiculous. He's played 38 games in 2 years. He doesn't give you much offensively. You get defensive presence, yeah, but I think there's better centers to go out there, and whether that's in the buyout market or the trade deadline. I don't want anybody to think that there's this major trade coming that, Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal is coming to Boston, because I think we're past that, right? Like, we have our guys. It's mainly going to be, guys like Cam Reddish, maybe even throw in, you never know, but maybe you throw in somebody at the end of the bench, maybe a Max Strus when you talk about wing depth and shooting. So those are the types I would look for. I wouldn't expect anything too drastic because, again, Celtics, yeah, they've struggled the past couple weeks, but also we know what this team is capable of. We just got to find the consistency and the balance. We also have to get healthy. Smart, I believe this was his 7th or 8th game miss tonight. So once the Celtics are healthy, we'll get a better understanding of what's going on. But this trade deadline is coming quick. We play Wednesday against who do we play? Is it Philly?
Philly.
And then the trade deadline is the next day, Thursday, I believe. So like that's a quick turnaround. So nothing major though I see from Boston, but if you can do what Rob said in terms of, if you can add without subtracting, like that'd be huge.
I think that's the name of the game.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I know I trust Brad Stevens a lot. I also want to say I think the Brooklyn Nets, yes, their plan of their big three with the Harden, Durant, and Irving fell apart, but I think this kind of puts them in better position in terms of you got rid of that toxicity. Cam Thomas is just so good, and he's been balling, and I think he's going to flourish. I think Dinwiddie's going to flourish, but I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I think Celtics, have their work cut out for them because we haven't seen this team healthy. When they are healthy, they're very deep and they're very talented for a playoff run. However, there's multiple factors that factor into having a successful playoff run. One of those is being healthy come playoff time. And another one is having fresh legs. I don't think this team, I don't know if they're going to have fresh legs come April. It doesn't look like we're going. I mean, Jason Tatum looked gassed at times tonight in a game in February on the road against Detroit. Jason Tatum should not be having to do what he did tonight. It was great. He scored 34 after a rough start, 11 boards, 6 assists. He had a great game. But Jason Tatum shouldn't have to log 40 minutes in a game in February against Detroit. That cannot happen. I think there's two names I've been a big advocate of adding without subtracting. Justin mentioned it. If you follow us on Instagram, I've been all over there talking about adding without subtracting. However, I do think there's two names you have to circle and look at. Those two names being Peyton Pritchard and Grant Williams. I don't know if financially and based off play, if either of those guys makes sense moving forward. Grant kind of seems like he's lost in a role standpoint. He doesn't really seem like he has a role anymore. He plays defense, but offensively, he looks confused. He looks lost. He's putting the ball on the court too much. Last year, we saw Grant have incredible success because he was a spot-up 3-and-D shooter. He's gone away from that. I got to look at it and saying we could find more value for Grant. We got to pay him this offseason. He could walk for free. Someone will give us some good value for Grant. I'm looking at Pritchard. He's come out. He said he's wanted a bigger role. So, Ian, would you think if the deadline passes, Celtics don't make a move, and Grant and Pritchard are still on this roster, do you think there is reason to concern just a little bit about those two futures here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think Pritchard is done at the end of the season. I think they're going to either trade him or they're not going to release him, but they're just going to try to get rid of Pritchard. I mean, it was kind of rough for him in the beginning anyway, bringing in Brogdon and having Derek White and Marcus Smart and all the other guards that we have on this roster. So it's not surprising that Peyton Pritchard might leave, which is sad, but what are you going to do? If you're Grant, on the other hand, is a confusing case because there's times where Grant looks like he could be a legitimate role player in the NBA. And he can be a legitimate piece to this team and a legitimate piece to this core. He could be the future, like, starting power forward guy that you want on your team. And then there's other times, like we've seen over the last few games, where he doesn't even look like he knows what he's doing out there. And, it's tough to see because you'd like to see Grant, play a lot more consistently and be able to, fill in more of a role. It doesn't look like it's going to happen here, which is sad to say because I really like Grant. I like the way that he plays. It's sad, but I don't know if he's going to be on the Celtics for very much longer. If we do have to make a trade, I bet Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard are probably going to be the people the Celtics dangle out there. I mean, we already saw today that the Heat are interested in Grant Williams, but it's going to be interesting to see. We're just going to have to see what happens. Like we said, Grant is a restricted free agent, so we'll see, on that front. But it'll be interesting to see. It might be a little cause for concern because you kind of relying on Grant and Pritchard to be a lot more consistent.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just looks like Grant is lost. It looks like, am I overreacting? Or Grant was so good for us last year. I mean, we all remember Game 7 against the Bucks at home. He was great. He had a role. He played his role phenomenally. That was our thing with Grant last year, right? It's like, oh my God, Grant found his role. Grant became really good at shooting 3-pointers and is playing very good defense. And then all of a sudden, he just steers away from that. And he's putting the ball on the floor and he's trying to isolate and he's trying to almost be like a guard / like small wing when that's just not what he does. So I know I have been an avid adding without subtracting guy, but I think Grant needs to go. I see there's real needs that this team has, along with Pritchard. I think Pritchard should go too. I think there's real needs that this team has. I think Tatum needs a guy to subtract 7 minutes a game off of his log during the regular season. And I think Rob and Al need a true backup big man. I love what I saw from Blake tonight, but you're just not going to get that every night. And same with Luke. Luke looks good at times, right, Justin? But like, you're not going to get that from Luke Cornett every night. And I think that's what they need because it looks like these guys are just tired at times.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Grant and Peyton, I think Grant is way too valuable to let walk in terms of not get anything back in return. So I think that's why we might see Brad explore some deals at the deadline. I don't see, knowing the type of defender Grant is, he's no one I would like to trade to a team that we're going to have to kind of go through in terms of like a Milwaukee or a Miami. Even throw in Miami. That's a potential first round matchup or second round matchup. And then the whole thing with Peyton, I think Peyton would flourish in like an Aaron Nesmith. Like, Aaron Nesmith balling in Indiana right now. Like, he went to a team that's rebuilding, a team that's young, a team that's springy, a fun team. And Aaron Nesmith is starting and he's balling. He had like a 30-point night the other night. I think Peyton Pritchard is in need of that. I would like to see. By the way, Cam Thomas just scored 44 points.
Yeah,
That's
I'm watching it on my
unbelievable.
phone right now. It's nuts.
That's
Crazy.
unbelievable. But
Good for him, though.
yeah, great for him. This Kyrie going, not to get off topic, but Kyrie leaving, like, that's perfect for Cam Thomas. That's honestly perfect for the Nets. Like, Nets in my opinion, Nets won the trade. I believe that. We'll get into that probably later in the show. But with the whole thing with Peyton, I think Peyton, I'd like to see him go like out west, like Portland, or I think he would fit in with Golden State just for the shooting and the fast pace that Peyton plays. I know, dude, I know, but like I just think like Peyton would fit in with a team like that or alongside Damian Lillard. I don't know, like, but those two gotta go in my opinion. And I have nothing against them. I really don't. I don't hate them, but like Rob, I was telling Rob, especially in that Lakers game in LA, like Grant, just the mistakes that Grant was making. Like, I don't know if Grant thinks he's a better player than he is. And I mean, no disrespect at all, but like he's passing up open 3-pointers now and he's starting to put the ball on the floor and spin and all that. It's like, dude, I don't think that's where your skill is at right now. Like, I understand it. Like, I get it, but like, that's not where you're at. And I think he thinks he's ahead of his development, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to sound harsh because I don't hate Grant, but it's just what I think I see on the court.
In a way, I think maybe the pressure of having to play for a new contract is kind of getting to Grant right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't 100% say that for certain, but it kind of feels like, the trade deadline, he's starting to, I don't know, maybe he's just concerned about his own future and it's starting to seep into his play. And I don't really know, honestly. I mean, you never really know what's happening in his mind. Only he can, come out and say what's going on. And like, it really does suck because I really, really think Grant Williams had, in a way, I think he had a role on this team. And now it just kind of feels like he's just kind of lost it. And it sucks because I think he's a great player. And I think if he goes to another team that knows how to use him more and can develop him a little more, he can be the legitimate guy that I think he can be. But I think his role's still
there. I think his role's still there. He's trying to, I don't know. It just feels like last year, he was kind of like in the playoffs, he was kind of our go-to guy off the bench, scoring wise. Yeah. I mean, White really wasn't there quite yet. Come playoff time, he really wasn't. I mean, tonight, what do you have? 23, 7, and 7. Like, Derek White has finally found his role in Boston. Same with Brogdon. These guys.
See, Brogdon is the thing, though. Grant's not getting as many touches because Brogdon's there. But that's the other reason, because he had the bigger role in the playoffs.
But I think Grant's touches are there. He just has to get back to when Hauser you see Sam Hauser when he checks into the game, he knows catch the ball, turn to the basket, shoot. Grant, his catch and shoot opportunities are there, but he's turning them into a pump fake drive. And I know Joe has been looking to get these guys down to the basket. But when you're a shooter, your job is not to get to the basket. That's Tatum. That's Smart. That's Brown. That's Brogdon's job. White's job. Their job is to facilitate, break the defense. Your job is to stick back, and when that ball swings out to you, to knock it down. Al, you rarely see Al put the ball on the ground. You never see Sam put the ball on the ground. Even Brogdon does it, but even at times, Brogdon is very good at catching, shooting when that ball is coming from the paint. Grant, I think Grant really, really, really needs to either find his role, and if he can't find his role, Brad Stevens has to assess, is there, Justin said it best, you can't lose him. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's going to go where the money is, unfortunately. I would be shocked if he stuck around in Boston for less money. I mean, maybe we could see him take a pay cut, but not a super big pay cut. And I'm not looking to pay him anything over $14 million a year. I think anything more than that for Grant Williams is absurd. I think Boston knows that. I think Brad knows that. So I do think if I'm Brad, I'm calling up teams like Miami. I'm calling up a team like New York. Maybe you give you give a ring to the Blazers.
Hey, who knows? Maybe you call San Antonio and go for Jakob Poeltl like that.
Yeah,
Like
and that's
I feel like
would
I
be-
feel like Grant would have to be a centerpiece in a Pirtle trade. Like if or a Minnesota for Naz Reid.
yeah. But you
I'm a
have
big
to
Naz
go
Reid
out
guy,
there
so.
and find a guy who can fit a role that's needed. Grant isn't doing that. I love Grant Williams. What he did for us last year was amazing. But like end of the day, you're gonna have to pay him, and he just doesn't fit. He doesn't seem to fit anymore.
So I want to go through this real quick because this is most likely our last show before the trade deadline. Like even if we do one Wednesday against the Sixers, like a lot of trades are probably going to happen. Before between now and Wednesday. Who on the Celtics? I'm going to name Celtics players, and we don't even have to go into depth. You tell me, safe or non-safe.
Okay.
All right. Even if it's blatantly obvious, I'm just going to say it.
So wait, I
Jason
have one
Tatum.
question. Sorry, one question.
What?
Is safe mean like untouchable?
Safe meaning he ain't going.
Safe meaning they're
He
not
ain't
going to get
leaving.
traded.
They're not going to get traded. Like in your eyes, no
So
way.
there's no possibility they.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're like
Okay.
like your opinion almost like no way he's getting traded.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We'll start up JT.
Yeah. No.
I think that's clear. No.
I don't know.
Like in all
No,
seriousness.
he's safe.
No.
Okay,
He's safe.
Al Horford. Do you
Safe.
see him getting traded?
I don't see
Safe
it.
because they gave him an extension.
Yeah,
So I don't think
I
they're
think
gonna
he's
trade
pretty
him.
safe if like a crazy deal arised and like he had to be in it, maybe, but safe. I don't see
The
anything
only
traded.
way I see Al getting traded is if they trade KD without Brown.
Yeah,
it.
but that
Time Lord.
Safe, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Sam.
I'd say.
I say
ooh,
he's safe, but
I'd say
he's
out of
in
the bench mob, he might be the safest. Him and Blake. And I say Blake because
Him
I
and
think they
Brogdon.
need that locker room guy.
Yeah, Blake's. Yeah, Blake's. I don't want to jump
Out
to
of the
gun, Blake's
bench
safe.
mob, I think Hauser's one of the safer guys. Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know. I could see Hauser getting dealt, but I'll go with
Because
safe.
they gave Hauser an extension too. So I think I think the people that they extended, they plan on keeping.
Yeah, I think.
D-White.
I agree.
D-White, I
White,
feel like
he's
is
safe.
a lock.
Safe,
Like
yeah.
He's a lock.
that's like the
He's
best
played-
thing
yeah.
that's
He's been
happened
a
to
starter
Boston.
basically all season.
His role,
So,
yeah,
Grant.
he's played his role so damn well. Grant's not
Grant,
safe.
Grant's not safe. He's
Peyton.
one of the few.
Not
Peyton,
safe.
not safe.
Malcolm.
Safe.
Safe.
Blake.
Yeah, super safe.
Safe.
I
Blake
think
might be the
dude,
most untouchable piece on this team.
So you know what's
like
funny?
Blake is
and I'm
safe.
not saying because I'm a Blake guy, but just for the pure sense of veteran leadership and locker
No,
room,
yeah.
I feel like they have to keep him.
No, they're
I feel
not
like
going to trade
it's
Blake.
best.
There's no way they trade
And there's
Blake.
just not a lot of guys in the league that you can find off the bench who can give you like just as like he gives you some really good production and he doesn't eat cap. He's not a headache. Like, yeah, Blake's safe.
He's like the most low risk player you could ever
Yeah.
get. Like
Yeah,
it's like a low risk, high reward type player.
Yeah.
Justin.
Exactly.
Justin Jackson is not safe.
He's
I
not
feel
safe.
like I feel like
he's
the
gone.
most
He's-
tradable asset on this team, but you're not
Which
going
is
to get
sad.
value from him. But like,
Well, I think Justin Jackson's like if we do make a trade, he'll be that extra piece thrown in.
No, he's the
I
starter
think Jackson
player,
is someone else.
almost like a
Juancho.
Juancho Hernan Gomez type thing, kind of.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like
Yeah. Or
when
last
Enes
year
Kanter
with
got traded, or like Bruno Fernando or whatever.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Bruno Fernando. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jaylen Brown.
Well,
Super
if you
safe.
talk to Stephen A. Smith, he's available on the trade deadline
safe.
for Kevin Durant.
Super
trade.
safe.
Yeah,
All right.
there's no
Untouchable.
way in hell he gets traded.
I don't think you could trade two-way deals, so I think Mifando and Davison I think they're locks. I don't think you can trade two. Can you trade two ways?
I don't think so. No,
Whatever.
Okay,
because
Yeah.
technically they're not on a roster spot unless you give them a full-time contract. So technically,
Luke.
they're only like half on the team. Luke's I think
not
he's another
safe.
I think he's a throw-in guy.
Marcus.
I love
Yeah.
Luke, but I think he's a throw-in guy. Marcus,
Smart safe.
People think Marcus isn't safe, and I just don't know why. He is one of the main reasons why.
I still
the Celtics
don't
struggle.
understand the discourse of how people still think Marcus Smart's not the point guard for this team. It's like that take will never die out. It's the same thing with the Brown to KD thing. It's like that's just those takes that will just never die out because for some reason people still have a problem with it. I don't get it.
Danilo.
I think he's
Gallinari.
but
I don't think he's safe. Yeah, throw-in piece, I'd say. But I
which
also like
sucks.
I don't think he's got to move. I don't think he's movable just because
who's gonna want that?
just because he's
contract ended?
hurt, he's old. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
All
way
right,
he's
so
not throwing.
I think we're all in agreement. The only guys that we legitimately see walking out the door, we can legitimately see walking out the door, is Grant, Peyton, Justin Jackson, and potentially Luke Cornett.
Yeah.
Like those
I
are
can
the
see
main guys.
Yeah, I think I
think
can
we're-
see that because those are the only guys that are technically assets on this team right now.
Right.
If you
the
really
first-
think about it,
I
like
feel
what
like
other
the first-
tradable assets do they have outside of
Right, and
picks?
like everybody else is too valuable. So that's kind of my point of what I talked about earlier in the show, where it's like don't expect the Celtics to go out and do these like record breaking trades and like this, like we're not gonna get like even a Cam Reddish, like he's not gonna win, like because we get him, we're not gonna win a championship because we got him. It's just like another additional piece, that fits really well with this team. I think that's like important as well. I'd love to go out and find a little bit of consistency. I'd love to go find a shooter. I'd love to go find somebody, even if it's a small wing, in terms of like a Garrison Matthews. You guys know I've been high. I think we had Matthews last year
We
in the
did for
preseason.
like in the preseason. I remember
And
that too. And then
he's a really
and then
good
he turned-
shooter.
He turned into like Larry Bird for like a week
Well,
in Houston.
You know
last year.
what? There's a name that just came out today. Korkmaz,
Right.
from Philly.
Eh,
I don't
he's
know.
okay.
I don't know what the availability is. But
Dude, if
in
you're
turn-
if
listen,
you're
I-
a player who's riding pine and requests a trade in today's NBA, you're
That's
just I don't
crazy
want
to
you,
me.
bro. That's
Well,
crazy.
I
That's
just think-
2K.
I think there needs to be a move just for depth at that 3-4 spot. And I mean, I don't love Korkmaz. I'm not in love with him, but at this stage, it's like Korkmaz serves us better than Peyton Pritchard. Now, I'm not saying
the
go
Nets
out.
No,
lost.
I know.
Cam
I understand what
Thomas.
you're saying. What'd you say?
It's
Ian?
just like, yeah,
I said Cam Thomas had 47 and they still lost.
Yeah, but that's a W for the Nets, dude. Like
No,
Cam
that's a
Thomas
huge
stepping
W
up
for
like
the
that.
Nets.
But like I know what you're saying, Rob. But I just I look. You know who I saw sitting on the Pistons bench tonight and didn't play a minute? Kevin Knox.
Yeah, I
yeah.
noticed him
Like,
too.
Bogdanovich.
Dude, I know, but like Kevin Knox and Cam Reddish,
Yeah.
those dudes are getting their careers wasted. I'm not saying these guys could be superstars, but like these guys are young studs. Like these guys can ball.
I think
and they're
Cam
both
Reddish
in-
has a legit chance to be a good player. Like he could
In my-
legitimately
Oh,
be a good player.
He was
if he
balling
gets
to start the year, like
Totally.
balling.
But like
he
even
was putting up
Kevin
like
Knox, so
18.
the Knicks stuffed him to the end of the bench, and now the Pistons, the 14-40, nothing to lose Detroit Pistons, are stuffing
Bro,
him
if
at
you
the end
can't
of the
get
bench
if
as
you
well.
can't get PT on the Pistons, I mean, I don't know if it's a him problem or a coach.
Yeah, but
If-
that's
problem, but, like,
ridiculous.
If I am Brad Stevens, I'm calling up the Knicks and I'm saying Peyton Pritchard for Cam Reddish straight up. And I know you could probably get him for a second round pick, but Reddish serves. And that's my whole. This is gonna be my spiel. You're gonna hear this for the next week. You're gonna be stuck with it. Reddish fits what we need perfectly.
he's a Duke guy.
He will play. Duke guy. He will play. He can play 20 minutes a game. Every night, 20 minutes a game. Tatum can play 30 minutes from here on out to the playoffs if you get Cam Reddish. Instead, we have Peyton Pritchard getting coaches' decisions, do not plays when we're healthy, and Tatum playing 40 minutes. It's like, it's just not sustainable. And I'm starting to get worried.
I just don't think we're as. I know we haven't been healthy, but I just don't think we're as deep as we think we are, or like thought we were. In the beginning of the season, like when we had Pritchard, like Pritchard was balling. Now Pritchard's getting DMPs. He's very inconsistent. Like there's no, like again, I have nothing personal. I could never do what they do, so I'm not gonna sit here and trash on their game. But I mean, it's true. Like Grant's dropped down too. Like we saw Bubble Grant, who was amazing. Rookie Grant was amazing. Then we saw sophomore slump Grant, which sucked.
We don't
And then
talk about.
last
We
year,
don't talk about. We don't talk about
it's like
sophomore
a trend
slump.
with Grant, though. It's like a trend. It's like every other
Yeah.
year you're good. Like rookie Grant was amazing. Bubble Grant that year, that was great. Then his sophomore, he sucked. Then last year he was.
Well, do you know what
huge.
scares
He was a
me?
huge reason why we
You
were
know
in
what
the
scares
final.
me is what happens when you pay Grant.
Yeah.
because a lot of NBA players, they get that contract and they take a step back.
Evan Fournier.
So what happens exactly? What happens when you pay Grant Williams?
No.
I think that's something you gotta look at. You know, what's another name I heard? I've been hearing actually a lot. I believe it was in the Boston Globe. Javonte Green from Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah,
I would love.
So that's when you listen to your star player, because I think him and Jason are like best buds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Javonte could play a serious role on this team.
Javonte is a high energy guy too. Like the Celtics need those kind of high
He can
energy
do
guys
everything.
off the
He's like the
bench.
best of both worlds. He can give you defense. He can give you offense. He can bring you inside. He can take you outside. Like, I feel like that's also like similar to Blake Griffin, low risk, high reward type player. Like, you're not gonna what's the word I'm trying to use? You're not gonna like suffer from having him, but you're also not going to flourish to get. That's not going to be the thing to get you to the title. Like, it's just a really good piece to have on your. And he knows the system. He's familiar with the people around, the staff, the front office, the players. So that's another move.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be a great move.
What?
Who said that? Boston Globe.
Boston Globe. I was on the front paper. I'm pretty sure. Chicago's looking to make moves. Boston. I mean, like at the same time though, it's like it's just my one worry, right? We could honestly not even get a big. I'm just really worried about the minutes Tatum is playing. Like very, very worried because like it's like I don't think he's gonna get hurt. Tatum's he manages his body so well. I don't know if you follow him on Snapchat, but like he's always getting worked on. He's always training. What's his trainer? Nick? Is it?
Yeah,
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick. He's always with Nick. Nick's always on the sideline. So he's always taking care of his body, but it's like as a human, takes so many 40-minute games throughout 82. So it's like
there's going to be one day where he doesn't do it, and he's going to get a real injury, and the Celtics are going to get screwed. So.
It's not even just like real injury. Like that's a concern. He's still young, but like for me, it's come May, Game 6 on the road in Milwaukee. I know what he did. Hey, I mean, 46 on the road last year, but it's like in fourth quarter, you got 42 minutes, and Tatum's just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Or he gets us
NBA
there.
Finals.
Yeah, it's
NBA
just like
finals. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't know if Brad knows that or can because Tatum has done it so well through his career because he's been young.
Right. Yeah. I think he can, but I think that's also one of the reasons why they're prioritizing a backup wing at the trade deadline, because they know that, look, Sam Hauser's great and all, but I'm sure that they can go after somebody better than Sam Hauser. I love Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish fits it both defensively, fits us offensively. The Knicks aren't using him. They're asking for a second-round pick for him. I don't get what everybody's like. I think it was the Lakers. Something happened with the Lakers recently. I think it was a Kyrie trade. The Lakers refused to throw in a 2030 second-round pick reportedly, and that's why they didn't get the deal. It's like, why? Like a 2030 second-round pick, what's the big deal? Like second-round
if you're
picks,
the Lakers at this point, you're going to need it, but
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what your future will be.
30 second-round pick, that's what stopped you from getting Kyrie
I was
Irving?
seeing that Joe
I thought it
Tsai-
was Max Christie and Austin Reeves that stopped him from
I
getting
was
Kyrie.
seeing that Joe Tsai just was not he wasn't dealing him to LA no matter what. I was seeing that just he didn't want to send Kyrie to the Lakers.
But if I'm Boston, guys like Terrence Ross, Cam Reddish are up for grabs for second-round picks. I'm jumping on that. I'm jumping on that automatically. And I don't know why. I don't know why more teams aren't.
Unless you're really quick. Unless you're a player like Kyrie Irving who just brings toxicity into the locker room, there is no harm in adding without subtracting. There's no harm. There's no risk to add it with. You just sit him on the bench. Worst comes to worst, you sit him on the bench.
Yeah, see, that was always I'm kind of on the same thing with you, Justin. Like, I never understood the fact of how like teams are offering. Like, Cam Reddish got offered like for a 2 second-round picks or whatever. Like, that was back like a couple months ago. Like, I'm surprised nobody even called him up and just said, "Hey, here's 2 second-round picks. I'll take Cam Reddish." Like, I mean, it's not like these guys are scrubs.
Like, the Knicks are playing them. The Knicks are not like give them 25 minutes a game. What are you doing?
The Knicks, And if you're the Knicks, you're a team that needs guys like Cam Reddish. So I don't really understand why you wouldn't want to play Cam Reddish. But
well, Thibodeau hates his young guys.
Well, yeah, that's true. Thibodeau does hate young guys, but if you're a coach like Joe Mazzulla, who doesn't hate young guys,
yeah, but I just feel like that's you're wasting talent, and like you're paying okay. First of all, the Knicks are so dumb. Like they're paying Evan Fournier $17.4 million. Dude, he doesn't even play in blowouts. Like that. Like
remember when we were all mad that he went to the Knicks instead of coming to the Celtics?
Yeah, but like you have to
I remember I was pissed.
It sucks because Fournier was the most inconsistent player when he was on the Celtics. Like one game, dude, he was like unbelievable, 20, 25, 30 points, and then the next game he'd shoot like 2 of 20. It was just like horrible
on the Celtics. He was I've blocked that year out.
One of the highlight moments was him and KD going at it in the playoffs, talking smack. Yeah, we were down by like 34.
Evan Fournier was talking like he was like Jaylen Brown, and he had like actual. Sorry.
There's no reason. And dude, even a guy like Terrence Ross, he's a veteran and he always kills us. So like, it'd be good to have him on our side. Like, I just think there's nothing you lose there, going after a guy like Terrence Ross. But who knows? Well, the roster could be different come Wednesday's game against the Sixers, or we could see the Celtics, make some last-second moves. Usually the Celtics are like a buzzer-beating team in terms of making deals. Like they're making a deal at like 2:57 when the deal has to be in by 3:00. That's typically who we are.
Didn't the Derek White trade come like right at the end of the deadline?
Literally, it did. And the Daniel Tice trade,
because I remember we had a
trade deadline special
that deadline. Yeah, we were on the trade deadline special, and that came out. Because I remember I didn't even show up until the end, and Daniel Tice got traded right when the thing ended. So
when like Celtics Talk Weekly first started, it was me and Rob did the first podcast episode with each other, and we were going nuts over the fact that we signed Jabari Parker in the buyout market. And we were going nuts. And Jabari Parker turned out to be one of the players that just racked up DNPs at like every night. He had a couple solid games. He really did. He was actually,
he had like 21 game, I remember.
Yeah, but he played good against the Warriors. But like I remember, just Rob and I were going nuts over that. It was the first podcast.
Well, see, at the time, how the Celtics were, that Jabari Parker signing was like huge for us. So.
Right, and now when we look back at it, it's just like, ooh, ooh.
That's just how
I saw a clip recently of, I don't know, remember when it was like on the Nick Wright show? I can't remember what show he does, but whatever show it was. He was talking about, I don't know if you saw that clip on Twitter. It was about in like 2019 when they first signed Kemba and Cantor. And they were like, oh, the plan was to have Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Gordon Hayward. And now you turn that into Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Enes Kanter. And it was just like, he was just ripping on the Celtics because... Yeah,
he said it was probably, it was probably plan C, right? He was like, this is probably plan D. Yeah.
Do you remember last year? Like, it's so crazy how different, like, pre-trade deadline and post-trade deadline, how different the Celtics were. Like, when we had Freedom and Schroeder, dude, that felt like 3 or 4 years ago, and that was just literally a year ago on the calendar.
Facts.
Jabari Parker was on our roster last year playing Christmas Day.
Really?
Like he was playing
he was.
last year.
Oh my
Lord. He was. Romeo Langford started that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And remember when Seamus was like preaching about like Canner starting, like play Canner, Canner. Like, dude,
that didn't end well.
Dude, Canner blows.
Bro,
absolutely blows.
The game I knew Canner was no longer an NBA player was when he let Embiid have 49 in the Garden.
I was at that game. That was my birthday. That was my birthday.
That was the game that I knew I was done with Enes Kanter. That was the game that I knew.
Yet the man will still sit there and say the NBA blackballed him when he let up 50.
So you know what happened? You know what happened before that game? The fire alarm went off when they were doing the starting lineup.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was on my birthday, dude. Kanter was getting pieced.
Bro, and then at the end, the thing that I remember at the end was him just standing like straight up with his hand out with Embiid hitting like a fadeaway three. Like, oh my god,
that was like the
that was the most irritating.
Dark ages. Dark ages.
Didn't he get traded? He got traded to the Rockets.
He got traded in that
Rockets right away.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, dude. You can't be a headache and suck. It's like at least Kyrie's good.
Take a struggle.
Right? At least Kyrie Irving puts up 40. Like Kanter literally like
choosers.
Yeah.
Know, right?
Honestly, as if Ennis, like who are you sitting here thinking that you can be a headache? Like no. You like
dude, or be a cancer.
Learn how to guard the pick and roll, dude, and then come talk to me.
You said you can't be a cancer and suck at the same time. Like at least Kyrie's good.
Yeah,
no, that's true.
Seriously, it's like yeah, Kyrie, you're annoying, but at least you're putting up 40. Like,
right.
I think Kyrie will be happy.
As a teammate, it's like, okay, Kyrie, like, yeah, you're annoying, but like, dude's getting me buckets. Dude's making me look really good. Ennis is just like, oh my god, Ennis, you're annoying and you can't play defense. It's the worst combination.
Doesn't he have pet slugs?
Yeah, I don't know. Ennis Kanter, 2 thumbs down. However, Celtics
get 2 thumbs and 2 big toes from Rob down.
If the Celtics need a big, I heard Kanter's still a free agent.
No. Suit me up. I'll put my jersey. I'll put my
Ennis Freedom signs 1 year non-guaranteed deal with the Boston Celtics. Rob. All right, but Celtics Weekly, we're done for the year.
yeah, honestly. But Celtics got a good win. 111-99. Pistons, they hung around. Celtics kind of slammed the door shut on their toes. Celtics Sixers, big one Wednesday night. We're 100% having you covered back here after postgame.
Is this in Philly?
This is in Boston.
Are you going?
No, I'm not. I won't be there.
In Boston?
It's kind of crazy.
Trade deadline special up in the air. We will keep you posted. We did one last year.
If anything, we might do Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say, because I'm working. So if anything, maybe like a longer post-game show, maybe just
or something like that. We'll maybe
definitely
Instagram live. I will be on Instagram live at some point. Whether or not anyone else is there, up in the air. We'll figure it all out. But there will be something. We'll figure something out for the trade deadline. Whether it's Wednesday night after the game, we'll talk about some of it, or I'll be on like something. We'll figure it out. We'll get creative. But she's got a good one. Big one. Big one. One seed versus 3 seed back at the Garden. Embiid. Hopefully, maybe we'll get Smart back. Brown, maybe we'll be back in the lineup.
I hope both teams are as healthy as they can be going into this one, to be honest with you. I want to see full as I know it's only February, but I want to see as full as healthy Celtics versus full as healthy Sixers on national TV. Like, this is going to be a big game. And standing wise, like, Sixers are starting to creep up on the Celtics. Celtics have struggled, so...
This is last time. All right, Warriors was a big one. In terms of Eastern Conference, there was one other game where I'm circling, and that was the Bucks on Christmas, and we came to play. Right. I want to steamroll Philly. We saw them at home.
Can I be honest with you?
Took care of business.
If I'm Boston, the only 2 teams I'm scared of, not really scared, but I got my eye on, is Philly and Milwaukee. I think Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn and Cleveland and Miami, like, those guys are going to fluctuate. But like, I think the Celtics need to keep their eyes on Philly and Milwaukee.
So here's why I know we're supposed to end this, but Justin, you just entered a great point. Here is my problem with Philly. They haven't shown us yet. So until Philly shows us that they can put on a run, I'm gonna sit back and say I'm comfortable.
Philly is in like what the Brooklyn was with KD and Kyrie. Like, that's kind of where Philly is right now, in my opinion. Because like they can be dangerous if they're all there, but you never know what's going to happen. So
Tyrese Maxey,
Harden's been a question mark.
I love Tyrese.
Yeah, Tyrese has been great. Harden, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him in the playoffs. And then if Harden shuts down, then sometimes you see Embiid shut down.
Opening
So that's
night.
always up in the air.
Tobias Harris
but
is
quick side note. This 1 seed, now that Brooklyn is pretty much out of the picture, that 1 seed is going to be a dog fight, because the 1 seed is the difference between seeing Philly in Milwaukee or Milwaukee in round 2 or Cleveland in round 2. That is like the golden ticket right now. In
Cleveland
is
could
that
be a
1
matchup
seed.
nightmare too for
It could
any
be,
team
but
in
at the same
playoffs.
time,
Yeah,
you'd much rather see home court.
You would much rather
advantage,
play
especially.
Cleveland
Right.
than you would
But
Philly.
But you never know. Like from the end,
I would much rather see Donovan Mitchell than Giannis in the second round, or Embiid. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
100%. Who would? Yeah.
True.
Our guard depth is great. Their bigs are. I mean, we haven't seen Cleveland healthy with Rob. We hadn't seen them. So like, I'm not worried about.
Hey, you never know if we
Cleveland.
get another center at the deadline. You don't know if we end up with a Jakob Poeltl or even throwing a Nas Reed. Like
that 1 seed is the golden ticket, because Philly. I think Boston, Milwaukee, or Milwaukee, Philly. All 3 variations of that matchup. I think they go 7 no matter what.
Yeah,
I could
plus I would rather
see us taking them 6.
I would rather see Milwaukee and Philly play against each other before they have to play.
Exactly.
Bang
each other up, right?
And that's why that 1 seed's so important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like last year we didn't care about the 1 seed because we were on the timing of, have anybody come in here, you're not going to be this type timing, but it's a little different this year.
Well, it's just like we couldn't. We were playing catch up. We couldn't really grab the 1 seed last year, but like, yeah. But
we forgot to rest people last year too. But we don't talk
exactly.
About that.
Totally didn't have time to rest people last year because we were playing catch up.
Yeah, we were playing catch up.
I remember the only game we ever rested people was it was the Bucks game at the end of the year. I remember that because Hauser had like 17 points in that game, and we almost
won.
Toronto,
where we had Toronto. And Neesmith at that corner 3
put us up.
Justin
5.
was calling that game.
I was calling that game.
Justin was calling.
Neesmith went nuts that game.
The Memphis game where Tatum hit like 1 shot in the first quarter, it got crazy, and then he never played the rest of the game.
Yeah. That was a Matt Ryan game.
All right, but
I loved Matt Ryan.
But like I said, Wednesday night we'll have you covered back here. C's got a nice one, a nice little win. What are they? 37-16 now on the season.
38.
They're starting to get 38. 30. You're right. 38-16.
2 away from 40.
2 away from the first team in the NBA to 40. Yep. We'll see if we can do it. I'm Rob. Next to me is Justin. Below me is Ian Angelo. You know us.